If you want to absolutely print money with cold email, you've clicked on the right video. With my cold email consultancy, we've helped companies like Iterative book 15 to 20 meetings per day. We've generated $4.3 million in annual recurring revenue for fixed rate AI. That's peak pipeline revenue. That's signups into conversions into paid. $4.3 million in annual recurring revenue for them. And for our B2B, our cold emails drove 42% of all of their entire revenue as they scaled from 0 to $4 million in annual recurring revenue in only 5 months. And in the next couple of minutes, I'm going to show you the exact frameworks behind all of it. Here's the thing. Most people get cold email wrong. Most people treat cold email like a sales channel. They write a dozen emails, they put them in a sequence, they send it out, and they expect leads to just show up. And that's just not how this works anymore. If you were running ads, would you ever run just one ad? No. And the thing is we think about this channel, cold email at scale, just like if we were to run ads. If you were to run ads, you'd have 25 different variants. You'd be testing individual headlines. You'd be testing individual call to actions and different offers. You'd test social proof and you'd test graphics. If you look at all the companies that generate the most revenue from ads, they are always the ones that test and attribute everything. The angles, the hooks, the cold actions, the graphics, all that stuff. That's exactly what we do with cold email. This is why I don't say we're a lead gen agency. We treat every email like a private ad. We run it through a truly scientific approach with controls in place. So we know exactly what gives us multipliers and what makes our campaigns suffer. We're truly learning what your specific ideal customer profile actually cares about, what matters to them, what moves the needle. And we're opening up cold email as a channel for your business, which is why we do 90-day testing sprints. When we launch a new client, we're testing dozens of different ideas. And in that first 90-day sprint, we want to walk away with one of two things. One, we'll know without a shadow of a doubt that you should never touch cold email again because it does not work for you. You're not going to finish working with us and go, you know, I think cold email could still work, but I think Taylor and sales automation systems, I think they suck. We just don't have that experience with any of our clients, and I'm very proud of that. Or two, we'll have found an angle that actually works. And then it becomes a question of just simply how much we can scale it, right? So let me give you one example. We have a client right now, they have a total addressable market of 3 million leads. And the founder told me he wanted to get to a point where he had 85 leads a day. I said, well, you have a TAM of 3 million based on our average campaign results. If you had an average offer, I don't think we could get to 85 a day, but I think we could get to 50 leads a day. And he said, okay, cool. But instead of building a machine that sent 3 million emails a day, we're like, hey, let's start small and let's see what message can actually get us to that efficacy. And sure enough, just like we start with most clients, we typically start with 10 completely different variants of body messaging, different vibes, different angles, different offers, different people we can target. We test everything. And when we find whatever catches fire, that's when we double down. And so for this particular client, we're like, cool, if we can find a variant that generally speaking converts for every 1,500 emails that we send, we're able to get you a meeting, then that means if we were to invest and roll this up to a thing where we sent 3 million emails every 60 days for you, that would get you those 50 leads per day. And we approach it from that framework. Then we break down the winner into its constituents. We start swapping out individual sentences. We see if we can squeeze a little bit more juice out of it. And for clients at the end of our testing framework, we are literally sometimes changing out individual words. A single word, a single character can sometimes swing results dramatically. I mean, we have a campaign right now. This has to do just with AI spam filters, but we have a campaign where I changed it from capital A, capital I to capital A, lowercase I, because I just thought it looked better. And that single thing made their campaign results go to 0. And we couldn't believe it. And it took us a while to actually pick up, like, why did this happen? And sure enough, we changed it back. We reset the copy and we noticed the only thing we changed was this one character. And the very next day they went from 0, 5 positive replies. Mind blown. A single change in a sentence can swing a campaign from having to send 5,000 emails to get a positive to only having to send 1,000 to get a positive. It is genuinely that dramatic sometimes. And this is exactly why most people quit before they actually know what starts working. They don't realize that success might just be one sentence or one character away. They look at bad results and maybe assume cold email didn't work for them, when really they just need someone who knows how to actually scale this channel out and what tiny details actually matter for this channel. So let me give you another example. When we first started sending emails for Fixer, we launched with 25 different campaign variants for them. Some of those campaigns were absolutely terrible. They would take 30,000 emails just to get one positive. And others were doing okay. They were around 2,000 emails in order to get a lead. The same client, the same product, the same offer, just changing the copy, changing the vibe, and a 15x difference in performance just based on the messaging. Most people would look at those as bad campaigns and say, cold lead email doesn't work because they just happened to try one of those 25, or they tried to predict what campaign would work good. And we go, no, let's do everything we can to come up with our best ideas, and let's let the marketplace actually tell us what our best ideas are. Let's try not to be too prideful with this and pretend we're better than we are. What we're able to do with that is we're able to look at the variations that were working, and we kill those losers and double down on the winners. And so when we looked at all 26 campaigns, they would average 7,000 emails in order to get a positive. When we took out the top 5 winners, it went to 1,900. And before we did this testing, we only had 2 campaigns and they were averaging at 5,000. And this is like golf. Lower number is a better number. Then we can add on additional layers. For them, we broke it down by persona, and we treated every persona as a different problem to solve. That's because what works for a founder is completely different for what works for the head of marketing. And by the time April hit for Fixer, we had 15 different personas fully set up where we would just talk to that total addressable market, those types of people, every 30 to 60 days. And the result is that some of those personas, we were getting a sign up for every 643 emails that we would send, which was way better than the 5,000 number or the 7,000 number that we were averaging, or the 30,000 number from the worst performing campaigns. And the other thing is that the stat I just said, it wasn't just a reply, not just a lead. These were people who were actually installing and using the product. We would send 643 emails, and we would get one person to go down the funnel enough to actually sign up and install Fixer onto their Gmail. That's a 60x improvement from where we were when we started the testing period. And that's why it matters. And now they know exactly what resonates with each segment of their market. And which leads me to my next point. There's insights that you can truly get from us doing cold email. This process gives you incredibly valuable intel about your market. In the case of Fixer, now they can say these are the very specific things that resonate most with our ICP. They know exactly what their market actually cares about. And that's data you can use across all your marketing and even your product team. We gave Adam some insights a couple months ago where we analyzed all of our positive replies, and over 70% of all the positive replies that we run for our B2B were from headcounts between 2 to 10. And that gave him the confirmation that is absolutely my ICP. Those are the lowest hanging fruit. Those are the people that understand me the most. Another example I can give you is we run campaigns for Wizza. They are a data provider. We were testing different offers to see what would get the best response. And here's what's interesting. If we were targeting enterprise leads, we found out that they really care about mobile numbers. They didn't really care about 500 emails or whatever. And we found that even offering 25 free mobile numbers to them was an incredibly impactful lead magnet for Wizza. And so we ran the same offer to smaller companies, headcount below 50 employees. And it was a completely different response. They don't care about mobile numbers at all, and they want emails instead. It was the same product, the same company, but 2 totally different offers needed for 2 completely different segments. And that's incredibly valuable information for a company that wants to know how their marketing actually splits. And many times what works in one vertical can completely fail in another. We saw this when we were running campaigns for Directive with Gong as social proof. When we were targeting SaaS companies, it was crushing. We would print 15 to 20 meetings per day. Then they wanted to expand outside of SaaS into other B2B verticals. We ran the exact same copy, mentioned Gong in the social proof, and it completely flopped. And so I went through their inbox and analyzed all the replies, and I was overwhelmed by how many people had no clue who Gong was. To us, Gong is basically a household name. Like, how are you in B2B or SaaS and don't know about Gong? But there are a lot of industries that are way behind the times. And that's just something we just don't see because we're in the weeds every day. And what was great is we were able to go to Directive's team and they were able to go, cool. So we need completely different social proof and a completely different offer for these non-SaaS markets. And so remember this, if you don't get leads, it's not necessarily a bad thing. You're learning something valuable about your offer. It's just the marketplace being honest with you and giving you feedback. As a founder, you shouldn't take offense to it. I'm thankful for when the marketplace tells us that we are not good enough because it lets you know where you can become better. You're learning something valuable about your offer. You're learning about how you're positioned. You're learning about how the marketplace actually responds to what you have to sell. And a lot lot of times it's an indicator that they just don't care what you're saying, not that cold email doesn't work, because cold email is not a bulletproof thing. If you ask me to send emails that say we have the best bags of poop in the entire world, I'm not getting you positive replies. But if you have an offer that prints, cold email is just like gasoline on a fire. Now, if you want us to do this for you, to open up cold email as a channel for your business and actually figure out what resonates with your ICP, then click the first link in the description and book an intro call with us. We'll map out your total addressable market, set up the infrastructure, test, and refine until we find the winners, and then scale that to reach 100% of your total addressable market every 30 to 60 days. We can even launch this entire thing in as little as a week. So click the first link in the description below and book a call. And if you want to see how we printed $4.3 million in annual recurring revenue with cold email for Fixer AI, then watch this next video.